questions. Did Trump's empire rise on a bed of lies, or is this just political drama on steroids?
So, Anna, what Trump filed this morning and his co-defendants with him are two notices of appeal. One is at Judge Engoron's decision and order. That's that 92-page decision in which he found Trump and his co-defendants liable for 6 additional counts of fraud in their business dealings in the Trump organization over a period of almost a decade. He has also now appealed the judgment that was entered late last week. That judgment reduced the dollar amount, as you know, to $464 million and counting by the day, with each additional day for added judgment. We don't see a brief yet. That's because Trump, under ordinary New York civil procedure rules, has 6 months to do what's called perfecting the appeal. That's filing a brief, filing the trial record with the appellate court. And the other thing that we know right now is what we haven't seen. We haven't seen any indicia of an undertaking or a bond that Trump and his co-defendants have posted in the amount of the underlying award.
And of course, that's multi-million dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. But what about the interest that he's supposed to accrue every day, $111,000? Given that they've now filed this appeal, does that put that on hold?
No, it doesn't. And we don't have a stay on enforcement of the judgment either. That's because without that undertaking or bond, there is no pause in the proceedings. That means that the Attorney General can take steps to move ahead to enforce this judgment unless and until Trump achieves that stay by posting a bond.
What's going on, crew? Welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you were able to make it back and you decided to press play and spend some time with me today. Again, I truly appreciate that. Now, gather around because we're about to embark on another wild ride through the Trump circus. And if you listen very carefully, you might just be able to make out the faint sound of carnival music in the background. If you can close your eyes and paint a picture, I want you to imagine this. A courtroom showdown that's as electrifying as Times Square on New Year's Eve, where the former president faces off against the legal heavyweights of New York City. It's like Law & Order meets The Apprentice, but with way more drama and fewer boardroom firings. Now, I'm about to get into this article that goes over the details of his appeal, but before I get into the news, I just need to say this. Crew, you already know what to do. But if this is your first time here, I'm just going to kindly ask if you could be ever so kind as to drop a token in the tip cup by hitting that like button, because your support fuels the journey. And as you know, I am grateful for every supporter that I have. Now, let's go ahead and get into the news. Have you guys seen this? Donald Trump appeals $454 million judgment in the New York City fraud case. Look at his face right here. He got his team. That man looks serious right now. That man looks serious. I would be too, man. That's a lot of scratch. All right, here we go. Donald Trump has appealed his $454 million New York civil fraud judgment, challenging judges' findings that he lied about his wealth as he grew the real estate empire that launched him to stardom and presidency. The former president's lawyers filed notices of appeal Monday, asking the state's mid-level appeals court to overturn Judge Arthur Engoron's February 16th verdict and Attorney General Letitia James, who said that she didn't run on the fact that, she wanted to go after Donald Trump. That was like her whole platform, as you can see here.
Here are a few things she said then in 2018 about Trump.
I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president. He should be charged with obstructing justice. I believe that the president of these United States can be indicted for criminal offenses.
I will be shining a bright light into every dark corner of his real estate dealings. And every dealing, demanding truthfulness at every turn.
All right, so you just got finished seeing that. We got it on tape saying it. Let's move on. Trump's lawyers wrote in court papers that they're asking the appeals court to decide whether Engoron, quote unquote, committed errors of law and or fact, and whether he abused his discretion or, quote unquote, acted in excess of his jurisdiction. It goes on to say, Trump's appeal won't automatically halt enforcement of the judgment. Go back up here. I missed that. The Republican presidential frontrunner has until March 25th to secure what's known as a stay, a legal mechanism pausing collection while he appeals. I'm not really sure why he's dragging his feet on getting this done. It would seem to me that you would try and hurry up and try and get this done so that interest won't keep racking up. But I'm not a lawyer. I'm sure he spoke with them and they figured it out, but it doesn't really seem like a smart move to me. Trump would receive an automatic stay if he puts up money, assets, or an appeal bond covering what he owes. Trump's lawyers could also ask the appeals court to grant a stay without obtaining a bond or with a bond for a lower amount. We'll just go ahead and have to see. Trump's lawyers did not immediately respond to reporters' questions Monday, asking if he had posted an appeal bond or if he was in the process of securing one. In a statement issued through a spokesperson, Trump lawyer Alina Habba addressed only the appeal itself, saying, quote, "We trust that the appellate division will overturn this egregious fine and take the necessary steps to restore the public faith in New York's legal system," end quote. All right, I'm not going to read this entire article, but I will make sure that I leave a link for you down in the description box. You can find it under the resource section so you can view this entire article without my ramblings. All right, here's my take on all of this as I dive headfirst into the wacky world of Trump's appeal. Trump's the man of the hour, facing off against a $454 million beast of a judgment. It's like David versus Goliath, but with more Twitter rants and fancy suits. Excuse me, I mean X rants. But what's the charge? James and Engeron are saying that Trump overinflated his assets to secure loans and that that's fraud. But what's interesting is that the very people who Trump is actually accused of defrauding when testifying in court said that banks do their own due diligence and they don't really rely on Trump's valuations. Banks like Deutsche Bank, as noted by one of their wealth management bankers named David Williams, said that they conducted their own evaluations of Trump's net worth, independent of his statements, and granted loans based off their assessments and not the one that Trump actually gave. The loans were fully repaid ahead of schedule, indicating the bank's satisfaction with their risk assessment. Now, in my opinion, this is a sham, especially since James actually ran on the fact that she was going to indict him in the first place. Now, I'm no lawyer, and I may not be the sharpest marble in the crown box, but I am smarter than the average bear, and that sure sounds like misconduct to me. And this whole showdown is happening right in the middle of the presidential primaries. If Ray Charles was still alive, he'd be like, come on, man. The timing is really convenient, don't you think? It's almost like the entire legal system decided to crash Trump's party with a big old lawsuit-shaped piñata. And let me tell you, nobody likes a piñata full of legal fees and court drama. Now, my last video, I talked about Haley's campaign manager when she said that the stakes were really high. Forget those stakes. We're talking about $454 million, people. And right now, what's hanging in the balance waiting on some judge to decide Trump's fate? Will he walk away with his pockets a little lighter? Or will he come out swinging with an appeal that'll make legal history? I guess only time will tell. So let's just all settle in, because Trump's appeal train is leaving the station and it is bound to be a wild ride. But let me ask you a question. How might Trump's decision of this $450 million judgment affect the public's perception of New York's legal system and its openness for fair business? Write your thoughts in the comments and let's keep the conversation going. Folks, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more like it, make sure you smash that like button and please consider subscribing to the channel. I humbly thank you in advance for checking out my other videos. So until the next one, I'll catch you in the comments. I'm gone.